Hi, welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to show you how I made this great little file folder card recently for a friend's birthday. They're quick and easy to do once you know the trick, and it's made using our new envelope punch board. So let me set this aside and we'll get started. Okay, the first thing I did was cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock for my card base. This card base measures 7 3/4 inches by 5 1/2, and I've scored it at the 4 1/4 inch mark. And I am ready to fold on my score line, and that's going to create my basic card. Now the first thing I did was take my designer series paper and attach it to the card because I want to be able to cut both layers at one time. And you're going to want to use some adhesive in the center because we are only going to be we're going to be cutting part of it off so that you get that tab, and you want to make sure it's adhering well. So I'm adding this first strip of plaid designer series paper from the Gingham Garden that measures 1 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 onto that longer portion of my card at the top. And then I'm going to fold this, and I'm going to now add the second piece of designer series paper, which is 1 1/2 inches by 5 1/2 inches onto the front, or what will be the front of my card when I'm finished. So I'm going to adhere that quickly, and I'm using the multi-purpose adhesive glue because I know that way it's going to stick really well, and I can put some easily in the center, but you can also use snail. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is now take my envelope punch board, and this is really great. You can do all kinds of fun things with it, and I'll be showing you that in some additional videos later. So I'm going to take this and set it on to my envelope punch board, and on this one I want to flip it upside down, and I'm going to line it up against the edge of this little tab. I hope you can see that. I'm going to flip this up a little bit so that you can hopefully see it a little better. It's right up against that taupe plastic, and you can see the entire silver metal insert of the punch. So now that I've got that lined up, I'm going to punch, and then I'm going to move this side over to the 3-inch mark and punch again. Alright. Now I'm going to do the front of my card, and I want the tab on this side this time, so I'm going to set that in to the punch, line it up against that piece of plastic that comes out to the side, and punch. Slide it over again to 3 inches, and the size of your tab is really up to you. 3 inches is just kind of a nice size. And then I'm going to punch again. Now that I have both of my tabs punched, I'm going to set my envelope punch board aside and get my personal trimmer. Okay, now that I have my personal trimmer, I'm going to want to make sure that I have got my cutting blade, which is our darker blade, not the light scoring blade. If you remember, dark for cutting, light for scoring, that's a little trick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this portion of my card along my cutting track here. I'm looking for this groove, and I am going to put the center of this little dip on that groove, and making sure I have this lined up against my top guide, I'm going to pull my blade down until I just hit that indentation. And you do need to apply a little bit of pressure because you are going through a piece of cardstock and designer series paper. So that creates my first tab. Now for the second tab, I'm going to cut this portion off. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line this little divot up against that track groove, and then pull my blade until it hits that cutout. And there you go. 2 tabs, quick and easy. So now we're ready to finish decorating it. The next thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of washi tape. This stuff is really fun, and I find that I really enjoy using it. And I'm going to take a little bit of the Gingham Garden Designer Washi Series tape and line it up here on the inside of my card using the floral pattern. Our Designer Series washi tapes come with 3, which is great. And I'm just going to tear that off quickly. And then the next piece I'm going to attach here on the front is my designer series paper. And I'm going to be using the Daffodil Delight side of this Gingham Garden pattern piece. I'm going to add a little multipurpose adhesive again and attach that to the front right at the crease line. There we go. And then I'm going to take some of this great Mellon Mambo designer series washi tape, and I am going to simply line it up at the very top edge of this Daffodil Delight piece. And you can use your grid paper in order to keep that straight if you'd like to, or just follow the edge of the designer series paper. Okay, now that I have my designer series washi tape on there, I am going to simply trim all 4 edges of my washi tape so that it's nice and clean looking. Okay, so there's the basic folder. The next thing I'm going to do is simply add a piece of ribbon around this one flap. I'm just wrapping it on the inside and tying a quick bow. And I happen to line this up at the edge of the washi tape because I just like the little bit of color that it gave me. And then trim it. And I'm going to slide it up a little bit so I have my ribbon where I'd like it. And then the last thing I'm going to do is to take my sentiment that I stamped using my Stampin' Right markers, and I've added a few dimensionals to the back so that I have a little height and it goes over the top of this ribbon, and I am going to simply pop that onto the front. And there you go. There's my file folder card. Let me show you the original again. And here it is opened. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. It's open 24/7 and you can get there from my blog, www.stampwithginny.com. Thanks for joining me.